Hi everyone, time for another update on This Grand Life, and this update I'll be talking about what I've been working on in the past few weeks. So first thing is, I've been tidying up the UI. You can see here it looks a bit different, and it's a little bit, I've made some minor changes everywhere to basically make it more presentable in preparation for the Steam release. Another thing is options. You can now assign keyboard shortcuts. So you click on that, and for example, if you don't like using WASD to scroll around, you can scroll down. You can set that to the down arrow, scroll left, left arrow, and so on and so forth. And if you want to reset to defaults, just click reset to defaults. Okay, so that's just a little bit of UI thing there. Okay, next thing I'll talk about is working towards the commodities and stock market. So this is a pretty big feature, and if you play the previous versions, you'll notice that there are no charts in the game. So first thing I needed to do was implement charting functionality. Okay, so I've done that, and what you can see is I've used it in the lifetime goals section as a first step towards using charts. If you click on the wealth, you can see your current wealth, total wealth is 23,046, 2,346. And what you can do is you can click on view graph, and you can see the progress that I've made towards actually getting that current total wealth from week 1 to the current week, which is week 12. You can see my money went up a lot, and then it went down again, a bit up and down, and then eventually I started making more money in the end. So you can look at the same thing in the other lifetime goals as well, like possessions, happiness, and knowledge. They each have their own charts that track your progress towards your lifetime goals. Okay. So there's another thing now. I need to open up another save to talk about that. Where is it? Quick save. Alright, another difference is in the statements button here. There's now it now looks different. I've made a complete overhaul of it. You no longer see your income statement the moment you open it. Now you have to click on view income statement, and then it shows you your usual income statement stuff and your current tax return and your time spent. So this is all the stuff that was already in the game, and now there's a new section down here called World, where you have to subscribe to Financial Dimes for access. So you don't have immediate access to this section here. It's kind of additional information that I didn't want to overwhelm the new player with, so that's why I've locked it behind a paywall. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to subscribe to Financial Dimes to get access. So you click on your weekly panel as usual, manage your subscriptions, and subscribe to Financial Dimes. Your subscription to Financial Dimes will start next week. Okay, so next week, I'm just going to cheat here and make the time go by. Okay, next week, here we go. So now you can see here, under your statements, you've got these new buttons here that let you do stuff. Okay, so the first one, economic rates. This is how how the economy's growth rate, interest rate, and inflation rate have changed over time. And you can see here the economy's been doing pretty well up until a little while ago, and then it started tanking really fast. I put quite a lot of effort into making sure that all these three indicators balance themselves out, and so I'm quite happy with that. Eventually, of course, the growth rate is tanking now, but eventually it will come back up. Inflation will drop, and interest rates will drop as well, and it'll all balance around a certain level that I won't reveal, but you can pretty much work out what it is after you've played a while. So yeah, okay, so you have economic rates here. Next one is economic indices, and you have your economic growth index, your real estate index, and inflation index. Okay, so all indexes start at 1 in week 1, so they all start at the same point, and everything else at other weeks is measured relative to that starting point. Okay, I'll talk a bit more about this later. I just want to mention something else first. I've made a few minor tweaks to the real estate panel, or to the possessions panel, where you can see your real estate. If you click on view now, this is a new button. You can see details for your property. So located at Liverpool, you bought it for $180,000, and the next property tax bill is due in 0 weeks. So it'll be due, actually I think that showed up here as well. Yeah, property taxes are due soon, 482. So that's why the 0 weeks. Okay, now currently this place I'm living in, so I can't rent it out. You are currently living here, move out before setting rent, so I'm currently living there. And one of the things that this chart can help with is determining whether it's better to rent your own place, like to rent a place from someone else, I mean, or to buy your own place and live in it. Okay, so rent prices change depending on the inflation rate. Now, when the inflation rate is higher than the real estate index, the real estate prices, then that means it's more expensive to rent than to buy a place, in general. Now, over here you can see the inflation rate is lower than the real estate rate. So that means it's actually cheaper because rent prices are based on the inflation rate. So it's cheaper to rent here than to buy, and more expensive to rent here than to buy. Okay, so this is in general now. To actually buy a real estate place to live in, you have to also take into account do you have enough money to afford a place? Do you have enough money for a deposit? Firstly, and also, do you have Do you have a high enough credit rating on your character so that the bank will lend you money so that you can afford the rest of the mortgage on that place? So there's a few things to consider when you're actually deciding whether to rent a place or to buy a place. Okay, so that's pretty much all I'll talk about this update. I think I've gone on for a while. I'm also still making a few UI tweaks and game balance changes. I'll post those in an actual proper blog update that I'll post a link to in the bottom. Thank you for watching and see you next time.